It is the year 2008. The stock market is in free fall, banks are collapsing, people are losing their homes, their jobs, their savings. It's the worst economic crash since the Great Depression. And in movie theaters, people are lining up to be scared. That same year, a haunted house movie shot on a home video camera for basically nothing turns into one of the most profitable films ever made. Not profitable for a horror movie, profitable, period. This isn't a coincidence. This isn't a one-time fluke. This is a pattern that repeats every single time the economy tanks. And it's been repeating for almost a century. Today we're breaking down why horror isn't just a genre that survives recession, it thrives in them. We'll look at the numbers, the case studies, and the psychology behind why, when everything else in Hollywood gets conservative, horror gets greenlit. Hello and welcome to Box Office Bhaskar. This channel exists to pull back the curtain on the global film industry. I examine film through three lenses: the business behind it, the content within it, and the audience behavior that drives it all. If you want to understand film at a deeper level, you're in the right place. Let's start with the receipts, because this isn't a new theory. It's a decades-long trend. Go back to the Great Depression in the 1930s. While the rest of the economy collapsed, Universal Pictures built an entire monster empire. Dracula, Frankenstein, The Mummy. It became one of the studio's most reliable moneymakers of the decade. Fast forward to the 1970s stagflation era, inflation, oil shocks, unemployment. That's when The Exorcist becomes one of the highest grossing films of the decade. And low-budget slasher economics start taking shape with films like Halloween. Then 2008 hits. The great financial crisis, and the horror genre doesn't just hold steady, it becomes a go-to safe bet for studios who suddenly can't afford to gamble on anything else. Every time the broader economy contracts, horror just doesn't survive. Its market share of the box office actually grows. So the question is, why? The answer comes down to money, and then it comes down to the mind. Let's start with the money. Here's the part that actually explains everything. Horror has the best risk-to-reward ratio in the entire film industry. Think about what a typical blockbuster costs today. A big superhero or sci-fi movie can easily need $150 to $200 million just to produce before marketing. If that movie underperforms, the studio can lose an enormous amount of money in a single weekend. Horror doesn't play that game. Let's look at 5 examples that prove this. First, Paranormal Activity from 2007. This was made for a budget so small it's almost a rounding error for most other movie budgets. Reportedly just around $15,000. A first-time filmmaker shot it in his own house with a handheld camera and a cast most people had never heard of. Paramount picked it up, tested it in a handful of college towns, and let word of mouth build a demand campaign around it before ever committing to a wide release. When it finally expanded its release, the movie grossed nearly $200 million worldwide on a $15,000 budget. That is one of the highest return on investment ratios in the history of film, and it became the proof of concept for an entire generation of studios who realized they didn't need a big budget to make a big hit. Second, The Conjuring from 2013. Budget of roughly $20 million. Global box office of over $300 million. But the bigger story here isn't even the box office multiple. It is what it built afterwards. The Conjuring didn't just make money once, it had several sequels and spun into an entire cinematic universe. Annabelle, The Nun, and more. That has generated well over $1 billion combined. That's a real lesson for studios. A well-made, modestly budgeted horror film isn't just a single payday, it's a franchise engine. Third, Get Out from 2017. Jordan Peele's directorial debut cost around $4 to $5 million to make. It went on to gross over $250 million worldwide, and it won an Oscar for Best Original Screenplay. Get Out matters here for a different reason than pure box office magic. It proved horror could be commercially massive and critically dominant in the same breath, which meant studios could no longer write off the genre as cheap or disposable. It became a prestige play and a profit play at the same time. Fourth, M3GAN from 2022. Budget around $12 million, box office north of $180 million. A killer doll movie became a viral internet sensation before it even opened. Driven almost entirely by a single dance clip that spread across social media for free. That's marketing a studio couldn't have bought at any other price. And it turned out into a built-in franchise starter on a budget smaller than the catering bill for most action movies. And fifth, the most extreme example yet, and one of the biggest horror stories in the entire industry right now, Obsession from 2026. This film was written and directed by a YouTube filmmaker and made for a reported budget of around $750,000. Blumhouse and Focus Features acquired it out of a film festival for about $15 million, betting on the buzz it had already generated. That bet paid off in a way almost no one predicted. Obsession opened to roughly $17 million domestically, and instead of the usual sharp horror drop-off after opening weekend, its second weekend actually grew. As of its most recent numbers, Obsession has crossed $400 million worldwide on a $750,000 production budget. That is one of the highest budget to box office multiples ever recorded for a theatrical release. Put those five side by side, and the pattern is undeniable. A few $1,000s, a few $1 million turned into hundreds of millions of dollars again and again, decade after decade. This is the Blumhouse model, and it's become the blueprint for the entire industry. Keep the budget low, keep the concept sharp, and let the word of mouth do the marketing for you. When a film that costs under $20 million can pull off in excess of $150, $300, or even $400 million, studios don't need it to be a guaranteed blockbuster. They just need it to not lose money, and the horror almost never loses money. That math becomes irresistible when a recession hits. Studios stop taking risks on expensive dramas and original mid-budget films. But horror is cheap enough to greenlight even when the budget meetings get tense. Now here's the part that seems counterintuitive. Why would people who already are anxious about rent, job security, and inflation choose to pay money to be terrified? The answer is something psychologists call control fear. When you watch a horror movie, your body goes through the same physiological stress response as a real threat. Elevated heart rate, adrenaline, heightened alertness, but your brain knows the entire time that you are safe. The monsters can't actually get you. That combination, real physical release with zero real danger, gives audiences something a recession doesn't: an ending. A haunted house movie has a resolution. A recession does not. For 90 minutes, people get to process dread in a container they can close the lid on when the credits roll. There's also a much simpler explanation. Horror tickets are cheap, horror movies are short, and the experience of seeing one in a packed theater, screaming together, laughing together right after, is one of the last truly communal, affordable ways of spending a night out. When people cut spending everywhere else, a movie ticket for 2 hours of collective adrenaline is one of the last luxuries to go to. So why is horror the most recession-proof genre in film? It comes down to three things working together. It's cheap to make and hard to lose money on. It offers audiences a controlled, contained way to process real-world dread. And it delivers one of the last affordable communal experiences left in a theater. Every other genre needs the economy to cooperate. Horror doesn't. When times are good, people want to be scared for fun. When times are bad, people want to be scared because it's the one kind of fear they can actually walk out of. And that's not a coincidence. That's a formula. And as long as studios keep needing a safe bet, horror isn't going anywhere. I hope you liked this video. Please subscribe to my channel for more videos about the global film industry. And let me know in the comments, when you don't want to spend too much money on a movie, is horror the genre you turn to? I would love to hear your thoughts. I will be back with another video very soon. Until then, it's bye from Box Office Bhaskar.